Hello Flosstube, welcome back. I am Jenny. This is my Flosstube channel, Stitching Jennie. Today is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. Welcome back. It's just been barely over 4 weeks, so kind of a miracle. Let's see, what have we done? So we celebrated 4th of July, so Independence Day here in the United States. For Independence Day, we went to my in-laws. My brother-in-law was in town from North Carolina, so we did some family pictures. My daughter's boyfriend came with us to both the barbecue and then to fireworks, and we actually go to a neighboring city for fireworks, which is funny because just down the road in my city are fireworks, but you know, it's a family tradition. We've been doing it since, you know, I got married, and so probably even before that, my husband remembers going since he was little. So anyway, but we've had a good time. We've gone camping. Anyway, just good month. School starts 2 weeks tomorrow, and so that's kind of crazy for me, but all is well. So let's get to the cross stitching. So first, I have some fully finished items. The first is Patriotic Heart by Samplers Not Forgotten. And let's put it up against something so you can see it really well. And there's that. This is a kit. It comes with everything, the pattern, the floss, the fabric, the trim. This is what the back looks like. It also came with like a bow, maybe a charm, but I didn't use the bow, didn't sew on the charm, but I tea-dyed the trim because it was very white trim. So I tea-dyed it so it would match better. And then this was a really fast stitch. It just took me years to get up the nerve to stitch a heart pillow because I am not the greatest sewer, and so it felt a little beyond my skill set. It had a little funky spot that I was able to, for the most part, fix. But I think overall it looks really good for my first heart-shaped pillow finish. And I did follow the edge of the stitched heart, so the edges of my heart right here are flat or straight. So that's because I followed the way that the heart was sewn. So Patriotic Heart, again by Samplers Not Forgotten. This was, the kit provided fabric was 36 count weeks Confederate gray. So and again, even the fabric was kit provided. The next finish is, it's a set, so let's see what I can do. This is Patriotic Trifles. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show all three together. Helps if they're straight. That's all of them together. So how I had it, I'll show them individually because it'll look better. But this is how I had them in my bowl so that the red one was in front. So let me just show them all to you. So this is the first one. And the back is that. This says Grand Old Flag, long may she wave, in white. It's a little easier to see in person, but and then it has blue chenille yarn as the trim. So there's the first one. Then you have the Liberty pillow. And then that's the back fabric. Again with the same chenille yarn trim. And then free. And the back. The trim on this one is a red chenille yarn. And then all of the fabric, backing fabric, were like fat quarters that I bought at Walmart. And anyway, I'm really happy to have my trifles finished finally. But I think they're super cute. So I had them sewn and stuffed for the 4th of July, but I just put on the trim. This time I glued it on. Normally I sew my trims on my pillows, but this time I used Aleene's tacky glue and glued them so that the chenille would stay fluffy. And I mean, it worked really well. So anyway, happy with my pillows. Pillows, I feel like, take me so much longer between the stuffing and the trim that they're not always my favorite kind of finish. So that's all of my fully finishes, but I have a few things that I've finished stitching. The first is Sweater Weather by Satsuma Street. And this, it came as a kit. I put them on like an index card, and comes with a needle and beads, all of that. And the this is what the cute little Yeti looks like. And I think he's super cute. I don't know if you could kind of see the, maybe if I go like that, you can see the beads. And it has some sequins. That's the word I'm looking for. So I just need to cut him out and put a backing on him. I think I might see if I have some old like scrapbook paper to use and glue it to him. And then I think I might have enough clear beads that I can make a hanger out of the leftover clear beads. So we'll see. We'll see how he turns out. But this one was really fun to stitch. He went really fast. I finished him really quickly. The beads went on really fast. So that was actually a really fun stitch. One of my sisters is coming into town this weekend, and she lives in another state, and it has been a long time since I've seen her. So I'm excited. She wants to learn, she cross stitches, and she wants to learn how to do beading. So I bought her a Halloween kit of the Satsuma Street. So we're going to do probably like a Satsuma Street stitch along the two of us so that I can show her how to bead. The next finish I have is called While Away the Hours by Petal Pusher. This is what that chart looks like. On mine, the words I did totally different colors because it didn't show up on my fabric. So I forgot to mention the fabric for these pillows were 32 count witch elts graceful gray. So were I to do it again, I'd probably do darker, but these I stitched during I think during COVID, so I got what I could get. Okay, so back to While Away the Hours by Petal Pusher. This one is stitched on 32 count French lace linen. I think this will look better with the bigger board. I didn't iron this one. I probably should have. But that's what it looks like. And this one I used Baking Tin by Classic Colorworks for the gray. And then I use Classic Colorworks Shamrock for the green of the words. And then I used a different DMC for the stem of the dandelion. I used DMC 831 because I couldn't find the called for color in my floss box and I didn't want to go hunting for it. So that's just what I used. I love the bee. He is so cute and designed so well. But I love it. It says, I could while away the hours conferring with the flowers. So that is that finish. Okay, the next finish I have is Home of the Free by Primrose Cottage. And this one is stitched on 32 count vintage Stormy Night. I have so much stuff on my lap. I don't know why it's hard today. Okay, so this is a piece. And this one, I left off the white background stitching. And I left off, there were X's at the bottom that you were supposed to make. And I left those off. And I think the rest was mostly as called for. I did use Louisiana Hot Sauce and Blue Jeans by Weeks Dye Works, and then Classic Colorworks Blacksmith Blue, because I wanted a variegated flosses. So that's, I think the Louisiana Hot Sauce was called for, and then I added the blue variegated. So happy with how that looks. Maybe if I put those in a pile. And then I have a finish. This was for the Sweet Taste of Summer stitch along that Christy Java Girl Stitches and Anna Rote did. And this was my first piece for it. And it is the July Flip It stamp. And I don't plan on putting on the buttons on this one. I know they're supposed to be ants, but I think they look like spiders. And I don't want spiders on my picnic basket or blanket. So this is how that one turned out. I used mostly called for or similar tones. I did switch a few. Let's see. This again is stitched on 32 count Vintage Stormy Night. And I didn't write down my color changes because it was just to make it similar to what was called for. My needle minder is a clay piece that was a center. It was like marketed as a bow center. If you search like clay bow, it'll pull up some options, and then I just glued some a magnet on it. But they're like usually a really good size, and they look really cute, and they're usually not very expensive. Like, so that's that piece. This grime guard is from Garon Toten Bags, and it is sewn beautifully. Highly recommend it if you can actually manage to get one. I don't use grime guards very often, only when I have a huge chunk of fabric. So the net where that looks like that was all of my finishes. So my new starts, I had technically the July stamp. This was a new start for that stitch along. And my other new start, I have, this one is called Wise Owl by Dear Sukie. And this is what that pattern looks like. But it's mostly finished. So these books are supposed to say like read more books, but I'm leaving them plain. This is for a friend who is starting to teach this year, and so she gave me a tour of her classroom, and so I had my daughter help me pick colors to coordinate with her classroom, and I'm going to write her name here, like Mrs. Adams here. And so I'm trying to decide whether to do like the dark gray or the sagey green color. She's kind of a more mellow person, so I think probably the sage green. But I'm really loving how this turned out. I would definitely recommend her patterns. It was really easy to read. Really liked how it turned out. This one is stitched on 32 count antique white linen. I mean, you might, yeah, I don't think you can see a difference, but anyway, it's antique white linen. And this will be finished as a flat fold. This will probably be my next finish because, like I said, school starts in about 2 weeks. Back to school night usually is the Monday or Tuesday. That's when the kids get to go in and meet their teachers and go to the classes. My high school student, her back to school night's like on Monday so that she can walk her class route. So I want to make sure that my friend has this before back to school night. So kind of as a back to school gift for her. My other new start is again for the Sweet Taste of Summer Stitch Along, and this one is called Hello Summer by Shannon Christine, and that's what this one looks like. And then this is where I'm at after one day of stitching. This is stitched on 32 count Picture This Plus Ariel, I think. Yeah, 32 count Ariel. And again, that same little bow clay piece for my needle minder. It's anyway, so it says the Hello Summer and has like a little watermelon right there. So this one has been on my stitch list for a long time, and it was nice to finally have a reason to start it. I'm still needing to dye the fabric for the other piece I had wanted to start for it. I think I will still start it. It's the lemon tier, and I need to dye the aqua fabric, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. They have a new Picture This Plus, not Picture This Plus. Swagart has a new blue called Vintage Atlantic. I think it's just Vintage Atlantic, but it's the cousin to the Vintage Stormy Night, but it's an aqua blue. So I might order that. 123 Stitch just got it in. So I might try that for it. Next are my works in progress, or WIPs. The first one is American Welcome by Plum Street Sampler. And I'm stitching this with the called for, oh, what are they? Oh, they are not color, they're Color and Cotton. Color and Cotton. I don't know why I struggled to remember that name. And this was the piece that I worked on for Independence Day. And it is stitched on 40 count platinum linen by Picture This Plus. So what I worked on this time was finishing the house. I think I had some of the windows in. No, what I had was the white frame on, like, to I think the middle. And so I finished the windows and the blue of the house. And that was the entire day on the 4th of July that I did that. And probably the 5th of July too, to get it, because I wasn't home very much. We were gone most of the day. I love the colors in this piece. They are gorgeous. The fibers, oh, they're to die for. So I definitely love Color and Cotton floss. They're just really hard to find. But I do like that one. My other WIP was Mattern in Hand by Jeannette Douglas. And this is where I'm at. This is stitched on 40 count platinum, I think. Yes, 40 count platinum. Oh, the American Welcome. This is Picture This Plus Pewter. My apologies. This fabric is Picture This Plus Pewter, 40 count. That's what it was. My apologies. And then this one is Swagart Platinum. I am stitching this out of order. So my idea is to stitch it in a strip, just kind of my favorite motifs, and turn it into a drum. This is a little harder than I had anticipated. I think I probably should have just done it regular. What I've added. So I've added the scissors, the bobbin, and the thread. The thread is supposed to have these really pretty flowers, but apparently my fancy floss is too close in color, so they don't stand out. So I might go in, what I should do is go in and darken it up a couple of, and use a DMC and darken it up so it'll show up, because I do love that aspect of it. So I think I'll probably go back in and fix that. But there's supposed to be 2 black needles. My black like disappeared, so I had to go hunt down some more black. So that's why the 2 black needles are not in it. Pattern fell on the floor. So they're supposed to have these 2 black needles right here. The next piece I think I'm going to stitch is the hoop, and I'm going to put my initials on it. My DMC bobbin, instead of putting the year as suggested, I think I am going to do 24-25, because this is part of a Stitch West stitch along that they do, a different stitch every year. Colette, the highway stitcher, she does it. Her and Brenda choose a chart each year. It's kind of an unofficial stitch along, but that's what I'm going to stitch next. But and then the other motifs I'll probably do are like the skein of floss with the thread underneath it, and I might do the other the pink one next to it. And then I think I will, on the end, have this bird and tulip so that ends in a flower, because I'd rather the main part of the drum be the stitching motifs. So I think that's my plan, and I'll probably put in some of the cross stitch words because it has cross stitch in different languages. I think I'll put in a couple, partly so that it fills in some of those empty spaces. I might need to pull in some of the little tiny motifs that are throughout to kind of fill in some of the space. We'll see. We'll see. It's been a little bit tricky to figure out spacing where I'm pulling different motifs. So it's been a little bit slow, partly because of that and just not being in a mental place to to do it. My next piece is Tales from the Sea, Fragments in Time by Summerhouse Stitch Works. This was her 2021 Fragments in Time. And this is what that looks like. And this was a start that I did on our trip to Hawaii. And that's where I'm at. And for the most part, I had the light and these top corners and the square, and I had the red of the lighthouse. So I added the pink of the lighthouse all the waves and then the background. And I had a few of the stars, so I finished the stars and the moon as well. So this is the one that probably has the most progress on it. So it's really close to a finish. I just have to fill in everything with black, essentially, that's left with that. I am running kind of low on that floss color. So we'll see how far I get and if I have an extra skein up with my fancy floss or not. So we'll see how far I can make it. I think I have a length, 2 lengths of the 6 strands left. So basically like 12 lengths probably. Let's see, my next one is the Cricut Collection Summer. And if you remember, I was stitching, the plan was to do the grapevines and maybe the berry bushes on the other side of the M for that Sweet Taste of Summer stitch along. And I got in the, so this is where I'm at. I finished like this part of this and then filled in the pink dots. And then I added in the grapes for the Sweet Taste of Summer and my carrots. And I'm calling the carrots my carrot cake carrot. I haven't made carrot cake since I was little. It used to be what my family would give our neighbors every year for Christmas, were square pans of carrot cake. And I just remember sitting and grating carrots for forever. And we also made it for my sister's wedding when she got married. And kind of after that, like, I was done. It's never been my favorite cake. And so, but we have a fabulous recipe for it. But that's how I got away with the sweet, is my carrots are for carrot cake. So anyway, just adding a little bit to that. It's amazing how much this one takes. It's a lot of color changes. Like, there are 2 different colors in the grapes themselves. There's 2 colors in the carrots. And so it's just a little more tedious. It takes a little bit longer. So that is all of my actual stitching. So WIPGO this month was numbers 2 and 16. So 2 was close to a finish, which I did while away the hours, and I was able to finish it. And then my goal is to do 2 to 3 days on each piece. And my other one was number 16, and it was a row or border. So that's why I worked on Matter in Hand. And I worked on that for 3 days. So this is 40 count linen, and so that's a lot of stitches in there, even though it doesn't necessarily look like it. That's a lot of stitches in that little piece of thread. So it was, so the numbers for next month are number 12, which was for August, number 12, and that for me is a small, and I picked to do Autumn Quaker by Primrose Cottage. This is kind of a frustration piece for me because I stitched it on a piece of linen and I mismeasured, so my border is very tight. So I got frustrated. I put it away. I pulled it back out to see if I could make it work. I think I'll be able to where I finish them myself. I think this is on cream linen, and the floss is Fallen Leaves by Classic Colorworks. So my goal is to finish this one completely this year. And it'll be perfect because I'm already honestly in the fall stitchy mood right now. So anyway, and that's in a bag that I sewed myself. So that's one. My other one is number 15, and that one is a favorite designer. So probably the designer that I probably have the most patterns for is Hands On Design. She does such a fantastic job. So I'm doing Gather Together. And this is part of her small gathering series. This is one of the fall pieces. So I started this at Stitch West and when she was there, and this is stitched on 32 count platinum linen. And here's my starting point. And I do have a couple of blue color changes. I last year added like a royal blue and like a gray blue to my fall pieces. So I found two colors that look really close to that in DMC colors. So I am switching anything that's like anything that looks like a pumpkin, I am changing to the gray blue, and then anything that's like part of like a quilted look will be the more royal blue. So I also have the pattern for the 3, which if it's on my to start list as well for that. They're kind of all put in together in this bag. So that's also in a bag that I sewed myself. This was one of the first ones that I ever sewed. So I was able to complete both of my WIPGO numbers this month. I should be able to do the ones for next month. It was also 24 hours of cross stitch weekend, marathon weekend, and I was able to stitch about 15 hours. So better than I have been doing. Again, I don't know what my deal is. I always end up with a migraine during 24 hours of cross stitch. It hit like Friday night. So I didn't get as much time as I normally would. I ended up going to bed early, taking some Tylenol PM and just trying to sleep it off. But during that I stitched Matter in Hand, The Wise Owl, The Lighthouse, and I finished Sweater Weather during that. I also did some charting as part of my stitching this month. I had a friend, I have a couple of friends that I want to stitch this for. I don't know how many of them I'll get done, but the phrase is sweet friendships refresh the soul and awaken our hearts with joy. And I charted that out using this book. And so it'll look kind of like this. And then I went on Etsy and I found like a wreath, like a flower wreath. It's called Rose Frame, and it's by Cross Stitch with Art, and that is what this looks like. And my plan is to put, I wanted to fit it all in that frame, but it's not going to fit, it's too wide in a couple of spots. And so my plan is to use that little rose swag, and I'll start it here in this corner. And then I'm going to try just the one swag up here and see how it looks. And then if I feel like I need it, then I'll add it here. And that'll be a gift for a couple of friends that I have. Like, I have so many friends that I can make it for, so we'll see how many I get to. So yeah, I think I need to look at maybe getting a charting program, because that took so long. That took probably 3 days to chart. So, and it shouldn't have taken that long. It should have been a lot faster than that, but it's a lot of work. So that's one of my plans, and also a purchase. So my other purchases, I went to Hobby Lobby. No, not Hobby Lobby. Michael's. I went to Michael's with my daughter, and they had their Halloween out, and I found some ribbon. They had so many good, I got my thumb stuck. They had so many good ribbons that I had to really pick and choose. So let me show you which ones I got. So these are orange and purple twisted with black, and they are not like the wired, they're just like if you were to take DMC and make them. So I was excited about that because it's already done, and it's that nice soft, so it'll go on really well. Then I got the pom-poms in purple and orange. They did also have black, but I think I already have some black ones from Joann's. And these are the kind that I really like because they sew in or glue in really well. And then I got this. It's like a shiny, glittery ribbon, but it might be kind of hard to see, but it's actual fabric. So a lot of times when they do the shiny, it's kind of almost plasticky, but this is fabric ribbon, and so I should be able to use it really well to do like a ruched finish, which I really like to do with my ribbons. So I'm excited about those. I could have bought more. That was me limiting it. Then my sister and I met up for lunch. I have 4 sisters. So when I say my sister and I have a couple. And so this is one of my sisters that we haven't gotten together since like Christmas. And so we met up, and I brought lunch up to her house because being on summer break, I can do that. But I finally got my Christmas, and so I got Pumpkin Spice Farms by Hands On Design, and Little House Needleworks Winter Wonderland. And she picked these out for my 1, 2, 3 stitch list. So because of that, I'll skip a couple of my purchases. I had to make a 1, 2, 3 stitch order. So I got some of the floss for both of those patterns. And then I got some fabric. So I got a 40 count Verdal, which is a 40 count even weave, which is really nice. I got green Lugana. This is Zweigart. It's kind of a pastel-y green. Yeah, that looks pretty true. That is for a Sunday stitch piece that I want to do. And then they had a new fabric that I hadn't ever seen before. It's called 32 count raw natural Lucan, 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 and it's basically the raw natural linen, but as an even weave. So I love the color of a raw natural linen, but I don't like the slubs that are in it. So this is kind of like the best of both worlds. So let's see. That's what that looks like. It is so pretty. So my plan is to stitch this on this fabric. And to stitch my August Flip It stamp probably will go on this. I was planning on doing them all on the gray, but there are a couple of fall ones that I think are going to look better on a tan. So I'm going to use that. So I'm really excited to try out that new even weave. Who knew? Who knew? Another thing was it was a Amazon Prime Day, and so one of the things that I looked for was a bag for a small, and so I found this. It's a makeup bag, but it's like a leather finish, so and it's really nice. It's fabric lined. And so I put my Seagull Mill Hill kit in here, and it fits in here perfectly. Like all of the things for it all fit in there with plenty of room. So yeah, and it was only a few dollars. Then I did a fabric order from Fat Quarter Shop. And while I ordered my fabric, I got one of their, it's called a Glam Bag, Moda brand. It's a Sewing Notion bag, but this is what it looks like. And again, really nice lining and kind of that leathery vinyl finish, so it'll protect what's in there. So that'll be for like another small. Then as far as fabric, they had a really cute nativity line that just came out. So I bought some of this. So cute. I love like the little children, how they look like little kids. So this will be probably backs of some of my nativity ornaments. I think that would be really cute. And then that same line, they had like this night sky star. And I think that'll be really pretty to finish the Nativity Tiny Town on. And back it with that. I think that it would be so pretty. So that's my plan. And I could see myself using it on a lot of like nativities, or maybe even like a Christmas ornament, or maybe even Halloween or something like that. So I got, I think, like a full yard of that. So those are really cute. and they're supposed to coordinate. They have a big, if you really like this, they did have like a big, what do they call it? I don't quilt, so a quilt panel. They had a big quilt panel of that was like this. So these things like all big. So if that's something that you're interested in, I wonder if I can see. It's satin moon designs for, let's see if I can read more of the salvage. No, it doesn't have anything else on it. Anyway, but I got it at Fat Quarter Shop. Really cute. Then I think that's it as far as purchases go. My plans, I mentioned I'm going to finish my owl. I'm going to do my August stamp. I have some gifts that I need to stitch, like my charted pieces. And then I need to jump into fall. I am so ready for fall. I have so many wonderful things. I am looking forward to it. But like I said, school starts soon, so I'm not sure how much stitching time I'll have. But I'm looking forward to getting into some of those things and start some new fall pieces. Fall is my favorite season. I love fall. Everything about it. The cooler weather, the crispy leaves, like the color changing leaves. Like, I love fall. It's my very favorite. So I could probably stitch fall year round. I really probably should because I have so much fall stuff. One of my pieces that I know I'm going to get back to is Autumn Town. And it is, I mentioned to Helen D because she's wanting to start her Autumn Town. So this is what my fabric looks like. It's moss. Mine is 36 count, which isn't my favorite, but it's by Seraphim Fabrics. So I need to work on that because I can't wait to finish this one. I have loved it, and that's why it's taken me so long to get to it, because I wanted everything to be perfect for it. So that is definitely on my list of fall pieces to start. I am toying with the idea of doing a whip parade. I am toying with the idea of doing a finish parade of all of my, like, what's under my bed box and in this, tucked in this drawer and this drawer and sitting on my ottoman. And so I will probably definitely do the finish parade. I'm not sure if I'll get to a whip parade. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. So anyway, thanks for coming back, and I will talk to you hopefully in another 4 weeks. That's my goal. Okay, I'll see you next time.